Welcome to Smashterpieces, a casual walk through the history of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. My name is Joe.
And my name is Matt.
And if you're new to this show, what we are doing is we are playing one game for every character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And today is a very special, weird one, because this is a bonus episode. Because just yesterday, Banjo-Kazooie got announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Oh my god.
It wasn't just Banjo-Kazooie, but...
Well, it wasn't, but that's the reason why this is going up.
Yeah.
That one specifically. It was also... So, the two characters were the hero from Dragon Quest, which, please give it a better name.
We'll come up with something.
We'll come up with something. And Banjo and Kazooie. So, for Dragon Quest, we're not 100% committed to any games yet.
Mostly because we don't know the first thing about Dragon Quest, and we need to consult with many people.
Right now, the two most likely seem to be 11 and 3. Seem to be the two that are most likely, but like 5 and 8 are also represented in the costume pool, so
yeah,
we'll probably like sort of pick through from those as well. We're at E3 right now and very tired. And so what we kind of decided was, since Banjo got announced, we were talking about it and thought, well, I mean, the obvious choice is Banjo-Kazooie. But then we kind of remembered that about 7 years ago?
2013, something like that.
Yeah, we actually did another show that was kind of like this one, just with whatever games we wanted, and it crashed and burned very quickly.
Because we were talentless hacks.
We were talentless. Well, we were... Okay, now we have some talent, but we're still hacks. Let's not get it twisted. And our first game for that show was, in fact, Banjo-Kazooie. So we kind of thought, like, there's already a podcast out there of us talking about Banjo-Kazooie. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Banjo-Tooie for Banjo's game. It's going to be fun. Hope you're all looking forward to that. And this is a slightly edited, for reasons, re-release of the episode of that show that was called Second Save File. You went over it with a bit of a...
I did. All I did was
a wide pass.
All I did was make sure that when we were young and immature, if we said anything that we would regret nowadays, we would at least not re-upload that to a new feed.
Yeah. So, and there were a couple of things like that. If you go find the original, just know that we were younger. We're always a little bit different. We said some stuff and used some words that we would not use today.
We've done a lot of growing, both as people and as content creators. It's not... I had to listen to the whole thing. It's not very good.
But it's something.
Yeah, especially since we're, with how busy we've been, Earthbound's moving kind of slow.
Earthbound is moving extremely slow. But again, as we said in the last episode, it should start picking up speed after the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I plan on jumping back in after this week. Like, next week, immediately, pretty much, I plan on jumping back into Earthbound. And then you'll probably jump in after you're all settled into your new place.
Probably.
And it'll go a lot faster. But until then, please enjoy episode 1/2 of...
Just one.
Of...
Okay, so we say at the end of the episode, like, oh, we've got more to talk about next week. And then when next week rolled around, we didn't have anything to say because we spent pretty much all of episode 1 talking about the entire game.
Yeah. So
it's just episode 1.
Yeah. So please enjoy episode 1 of Second Save File. It's rough. I'm sorry. But you might consider it a time capsule of how far we've come. Please. Please, God, consider it that. And we will be back, hopefully, in a couple of weeks with part 3 of Earthbound.
Hooray!
So, bye! Hey y'all, and welcome finally to episode 1 of Second Save File. I'm Littlebug.
I'm Darker Eye.
And we're talking about bears and birds today.
Hey, we don't have any intro planned out at all.
No, we don't. We are literally basically recording this about half an hour after episode 0.
Oh, not even a half hour.
Yeah, probably not even. Oh, God.
Yeah. We dicked around for like 20 minutes, and then we started it. But yeah, you're gonna get it a little later than you are gonna get episode 0, just because, you know, like Christmas weekend would be when we'd have to record a new episode, so we kind of want to have a little bit of time in there, and this is just easy for us.
Yeah, it's like this is probably the busiest weekend, like pretty much of the year.
Oh yeah, my finals are coming up. I can't play a new game.
Like, we already know what the next episode is what the next game is gonna be, but like, well, we'll cover that later. But
yeah.
Like I said, today we are talking about a bear and a bird. Today we are talking about. You wanna. Since it was basically for your sake.
Today we're talking about Project Dream.
Which was of course the working name of Banjo-Kazooie.
I got it right?
Yes, you did actually.
Nice.
Project Dream, actually, because it was originally not going to be a bear. It was going to be a guy fighting a pirate, and it was going to be for the Super Nintendo.
I think a guy fighting a pirate would be a little bit better game.
Well, like you know the pirate in
Oh yeah, the one in Banjo-Tooie.
The one in Banjo-Tooie. There's also portraits of him in Mad Monster Mansion in this game.
Yep.
So it was originally just going to be a kid fighting a pirate, and then they decided that a kid and the pirate were a little too
boring,
generic and boring. Yeah. So
and there was also the fact that they were getting a little bit ambitious for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So they kind of just wanted to retool the entire thing.
So they just moved it over to the 64, and they changed the kid into a bear. Now
Banjo was actually going to be a minor character in Project Dream.
He was actually, his first appearance was actually not in Banjo-Kazooie, if you will believe it. It was in Diddy Kong Racing for the Nintendo 64. His first actual appearance.
That was kind of an accident, though, because Banjo-Kazooie was supposed to come out first until it got delayed.
And we know it's the same Banjo, not only because it's a bear, but you can also hear Kazooie, like when he crashes. You can barely hear Kazooie's voice.
Yeah, the instruction manual also mentions Kazooie and Gruntilda and everything.
But did you know that Kazooie was originally not going to be a separate character?
Yep.
Banjo's backpack was actually originally going to be just a backpack with magical powers, and it was
and like even before that, when it was still Project Dream, the kid was gonna have like bionic legs or whatever
come out of the backpack and everything. And then I guess they just looked at it and eventually just thought, why don't we just make this a separate character? And so Kazooie, in my opinion, the best character in the game, was born. I love Kazooie.
Oh, Kazooie's so good. Like, she's really funny.
Yeah, we are actually playing the game, both of us, while we record.
Yeah.
I guess we should mention this now. We kind of mentioned it in episode 0. But I am playing the actual 64 cart, and Dark is playing the 360 port of the game.
Yeah, this game looks so nice and widescreen, too. And actually, I noticed on the game over screen, you know that part where Mumbo dashes in?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that when it's in widescreen, he actually just appears in the middle of the screen because, to save resource space, they didn't have him actually move more than you could see him, and they didn't fix that when they made it bigger.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a problem that you see a lot when games that were originally in 4x3 get shifted up to widescreen.
So right now, maybe we should cover where we are right now, actually. Because we haven't actually beaten the game. Well, we've beaten the game. Well, I've beaten the game before. You said you haven't.
No, I have not. I'm actually right about to the place that this is about as far as I've ever gotten.
I've never 100% completed it, which I guess I'm trying. But, I mean, I'll get to that. But, like, the big thing, really, right now I am currently in Mumbo's mountain trying to find a honeycomb piece that I missed. Mm-hmm. Because I need all the health I can get for the final boss and for Furnace Fun, which I'll talk about later.
Meanwhile, I'm going to do the man way.
Oh, man. You say that now. Say that now.
Do you have the double honeycombs?
The double honeycombs? No, not yet.
They're like the red ones. Because, like, I am trying my damnedest to 100% the jiggies and the notes. I'm not getting all those honeycomb pieces because I just can't fucking find some of them. I'm missing one in Spiral Mountain of all places.
Mumbo's Mountain. Like, you just said Spyro Mountain? Oh, Spiral Mountain, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
really?
missing one in Spiral Mountain.
I almost missed one in Spiral Mountain, obviously. I thought you said Spiral Mountain. I was like, what the fuck?
And, part of my reasoning for not really worrying much is that there's 6 extras. Because, they're the ones that are in Spiral Mountain. They're part of the tutorial.
Yeah.
So if you want to skip the tutorial, you can still get all of the honeycomb pieces.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, what that means is that there's 6 that don't actually ever do anything. So I'm kind of banking on that to get as many as I can.
Yeah, but I will warn you now, the more health you have for that final boss, the best. Because, Tooie has a much easier final boss, but it's still hard as shit. But, I don't know, the final boss of Banjo-Kazooie is very difficult.
I have actually finished Tooie. I finished Tooie when I was a kid, actually.
In my opinion, Tooie's better, but... I mean, we're not here to talk about Tooie, but in my opinion, Tooie's better. They're both great games. I love Banjo-Kazooie.
They're both very different games, too. Tooie was way more open world.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, okay, this one is kind of open world?
It's kind of, but not really.
Yeah. It's not linear by any means. But
I mean, in Tooie, all the worlds connect, and...
yeah.
The overworld is still basically the same level.
Yeah. With exactly one exception, every single world can be beaten without ever leaving it.
Yeah.
And that one exception is that you need, you need, either the running shoes from Gobi Valley, or the...
Yeah, you need to... Because Gobi Valley and Free CCP are kind of meant to be played around the same time. Yeah. And so they both have power-ups that are... And that actually kind of bothers me about those worlds, really. Because, that's...
Because no other world does it.
Yeah, no other pair of worlds do it. But you can beat... Mostly because Gobi's Valley and Free CCP are really the last 2 worlds you have to get new powers and abilities in. But, there's one Jiggy you need the running shoes in Free CC Peak, but you get the running shoes in Gobi's Valley, and there's one Jiggy in Gobi's Valley that you need the Beak Buster, the Flying Beak Buster, whatever it's called, I don't remember, to get... I
don't know any of the names.
To get the Jiggy to get one Jiggy in Gobi's Valley, but you get that Flying Beak Buster thing, you get that in Free CC Peak.
Yeah, and I usually don't bother with that. I just, what I do is I go into Gobi Valley, I get the running shoes, and then I play all of Free ZZ Peak.
Yeah, what I did was I got everything but that one Jiggy in Free ZZ Peak, and then I went to Gobi Valley, and I finished Gobi Valley completely, and then just went back to Free ZZ Peak to get that one. Because it's not a hard Jiggy to get. It's just annoying that you have to go into another world to get it.
Yeah.
I really don't like that about those 2 worlds. That's one of the reasons why Gobi's Valley is really one of my least favorite worlds in the game. 'Cause it is. I honestly think that Gobi's Valley is the worst level in the game. It's not bad, but it's the weakest level by far.
It's not really all that interesting. And
yeah, it's kind of boring too, because everything is the same color, and I don't know.
Well, the thing about most of the worlds in this game is that they're built so that you don't realize how small they are. All the levels are really, really small, but they're very dense. Whereas Gobi Valley is not. Gobi Valley, I can stand on one side of the level and see the other side of the level. Pretty much wherever I am.
Yeah,
and that it feels as small as it is, and it's not something I can say about any other level.
I always thought Click Clock Wood felt a little smaller.
Are you kidding?
But then again, Click Clock Wood was basically 4 levels in one, so it really didn't matter.
Click Clock Wood feels huge.
I think the one that feels huge to me is Free ZZ Peak. Yeah. Free ZZ Peak feels massive to me, and I know it's not because, they're all really small, because, I mean, it's a 64 game. They didn't have all the space in the world on these cartridges.
Oh yeah, especially at once.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the 64 can hold more levels than we can think of, because, like, you know, when you think of Banjo-Kazooie versus Banjo-Tooie, while Tooie, I think, required the expansion pack, all the expansion pack does is add more RAM. So, they're both working with the same amount of disk space. And the problem was the RAM. You can only have so much loaded at once before it starts stalling.
Yeah, it's so like because the 64 was not the most powerful hardware, and I mean you can honestly see that with games like Super Mario 64, where the graphics have not aged well in the least bit.
I don't think I'd be hard pressed to say that any 64 graphics have really aged all that well.
I don't know, Banjo-Kazooie and DK64, I would say most of the Rareware games that aren't GoldenEye are Perfect Dark. Because those games look ugly as sin now.
That's because they're supposed to be realistic. I have the HD version of Perfect Dark on Xbox. It looks miserable.
Oh, God. I don't like that game, actually. I have it on 64, and I don't like it.
I've never actually played it, but have you played the original GoldenEye?
I have not. Actually, I think I've told this story before. My father walked in, because I was like 10, and or maybe I was 12. I don't fucking remember. But I was playing it over at my grandparents' house, because my uncle had a 64. That's how and he had a SNES and all that, and that's how I got, like, introduced to video games, pretty much.
Did you just call it a SNES?
Yeah, I do that. Super Nintendo, whatever. But, he had GoldenEye, and, now I'm gonna do it on purpose, because I just remembered it's a pet peeve of yours. Ha, 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 ha.
I hate you.
I know. And then I'm frozen in carbonite. But basically, he came down and found me playing GoldenEye. And GoldenEye was a game with guns, obviously, and to him that was...
Oh, you can't have that.
To him, I was too young to be playing a game with guns in it, so he yelled at me, and he told me I was not allowed to play it, and so I just went and played Donkey Kong instead.
It's funny, because my mom helped me input cheat codes for this game with guns.
That's beautiful.
She didn't give a shit.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, but, I don't want to talk too much about Tooie, but just a quick Tooie fun fact to tie all that back into Banjo. You know the first-person segments?
Yeah, those are put in the... I think you mentioned that on What Are You Playing? This is recorded literally right after Dark is... Pretty much right after Dark is done with What Are You Playing?
No,
context.
That was like 6 hours ago, dude.
Whatever. Time's relative.
The point of it is that those first-person sections run on the GoldenEye engine, and in fact, one level is lifted straight from the GoldenEye multiplayer.
I think I knew about the GoldenEye map, but I didn't know about the engine. So that's.
I think it's the engine. I don't know for 100% sure, but it's identical. So, yeah, you'd be hard pressed to convince me otherwise.
So I've been walking around Mumbo's Mountain this entire time. We've been recording for 15 minutes. I've been running around Mumbo's Mountain since we started. I haven't found this honeycomb piece yet.
I've been in Click Clock Wood this whole time and don't have a single Jiggy.
Yeah, I was there for 20 minutes and didn't have a single Jiggy.
Well, I guess that's also because the Jiggies are really sparse, because it's basically 10 Jiggies split up into 4 levels.
Wait, I think I know where it is. Shit. Oh, man. I'm fucking stupid.
Oh my god, I forgot that you could do sharp turns in the air.
I actually didn't discover that until this playthrough. You can do that in the water, too.
Oh my god.
Which makes the swimming controls not as shitty, but they're still awful. But that's not.
I was playing earlier with Damien was watching me, and I was in Rusty Bucket Bay, and he just said that sound, just the sound of swimming, it haunts my nightmares. It's just pressing that button over and over again.
Like, the controls are atrocious, and that's not really a Banjo-Kazooie specific thing, because you can say that about most games, is that swimming controls in most games are atrocious.
It just feels pretty well in the Xbox version, though. The Xbox version's better.
But it makes it so much easier when I discover that I can do sharp turns, and I found it. I found the honeycomb piece.
I just realized that this game has no HUD. It's really weird.
No headset. It really doesn't. I mean, it has the like things that show up, but they disappear after a while.
Like in this day and age, it's so weird to see a game that just doesn't have a HUD.
All right, so I'm missing one in Treasure Trove Cove. Treasure Trove Cove, which actually might be one of my favorite levels music-wise. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, the music in this game is so fantastic.
So let me just break this down. Grant Kirkhope is one of my favorite video game composers that there are, and he hasn't done like a big game in a while. I don't think.
Has he done anything in a while? I mean, obviously, I guess he has to work, but like,
I think he did some. I think he did. Oh, Amalur.
He did. Wait.
Yeah,
Kingdoms of Amalur?
He did Kingdoms of Amalur. He was the composer for that game. That is the most recent game he has done. And
I hardly even played that game. I wouldn't even know that.
But I think I only know that because of his actually he has a website where he talks about. I don't think I spent much time on it, but I did read about some of the games I played that he did. But he has basically blog posts talking about how when I did the music for this game, this was basically my experience with that. And I think when he was doing Banjo-Kazooie, I think he'd also... I think DK64 might have been in production around the same time, maybe? Because I know that came out before Tooie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he said, I just agreed to do the music for that game, too. And that's about when and I think Perfect Dark... Which came out first? Perfect Dark or GoldenEye? Shit.
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye came out first?
Yeah.
Right, so it might have been Perfect Dark. I don't remember. But it was either GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, and he said, and I also accepted, I was also doing the music for that game too at the same time. So basically, before I realized it, I had agreed to do music for 3 games, and that's when I realized I might have bitten off a little more than I can chew. But he still did it, and holy shit, did he
he's amazing.
I don't think there's a single track in this entire game that I do not like.
My favorite thing about Rare games is how the music is so dynamic, and like especially with boss battles where there are remix of the main of the main level theme. It's just the music in a Rare game is some of the best part. These fucking birds in Click Clock Wood. just the music. Oh my god, I can't even imagine going through all 4 parts of it and not dying.
Oh, okay. I can't. It's Jesus. Yeah, that's one difference you mentioned about.
Yes. In the Xbox version, you don't have to do one run through for. Oh god, I'm about to die right now. Oh god damn it.
Yeah, in the 64 version, basically, let's put it like this: there are 100 notes in each level, and you need a certain number of notes to progress through the hub, which is Gruntilda's lair. Which is probably... I don't really like it as a hub more than I like the Tooie hub. But... Which the Isle of Hags is a much better hub, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because it was way more fleshed out.
Yeah, I have my reasons for hating Gruntilda's lair, and I'll get into that. It's a good hub for the time, but...
No, it's not.
I don't really like it. But, really... there are 100 notes in every stage, and there are note doors in the hub that you need certain amounts of notes to get through. Well, in the 64 version, in the original version, you have to get these 100 notes in these stages in one life, because if you leave the stage or you die, that's your note score, and you have to start collecting again from 0.
Yeah.
Which for some stages is really easy. Like most stages up to Rusty Bucket Bay, basically, I was able to do that no problem. Up to Mad Monster Mansion, actually, I was able to do that no problem. So I died multiple times in Mad Monster Mansion.
Yeah, and Mumbo's Mountain is just it's...
Well, Mumbo's Mountain
is like the easiest thing ever.
It gets a lot harder as it goes because Mumbo's Mountain was specifically created to be like the easiest level known to man. Everything's in plain sights. Like we were talking about earlier, we both completed it in
I completed it in 18 minutes.
And I completed it in 17, less than 20 minutes, and we completed an entire level 100%.
Yeah, all I was missing was one honeycomb piece.
And really, I don't think those count towards the 100% rating, do they? I really don't think they do.
The 100% rating isn't really an in-game thing. It's just whatever you define it as.
True.
Like, the honeycomb pieces are on the totals page. And by the way, am I supposed to, like, ground pound these green seed thingies that are sticking out of the wall? Because they're really small and hard to jump on.
I think those grow when...
So they just...
As you go along, they'll grow as you go along the different seasons.
So they just wanted to make the most obnoxious platforming with those things.
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
That or they might bloom when you're a bee, but I don't know. Fuck, what was I talking about? Yeah, and apparently in the 360 version... Oh yeah, Mumbo's Mountain. Everything's in plain sight. The jiggies are all easy to get. You can beat it in less than 20 minutes. And really the only reason... Even if you're, like, brand new to the game, you can beat it in less than 20 minutes. It's piss easy. And as you go on, like, even collecting the notes, which you think would be, like, the easiest part of the level, gets hard because, like, in Mad Monster Mansion, you're lucky to find more than a gathering of 4 notes, like, in any given place. Like, if you find a group of notes, you're damn lucky if it's more than 4 of them. Because that never happens.
But see, the funny thing is that even though... Okay, well, in the Xbox version, they removed the score thing. When you collect a note now, it's collected, period. And I think that the reason they did that was because after in Tooie, there was no note score. It was, you collect a note and it's collected forever. Like, to the point that I played Tooie so much through my childhood, but I only ever had one save file. So collecting the notes was, like, the very first thing I did. And then, later on, I forgot that those notes were ever there to begin with. It's just because it had been so long since there had been any notes. And I think, since Tooie didn't have them, I think that Rare realized it was kind of a dumb idea, and they decided that they didn't really want to do it. So
I know some people like to say that it's a real punishment for dying, but I'm like, dying is kind of a real punishment for dying.
Well, actually, I'm playing the Xbox X version, and I really don't feel like there's a big punishment for dying. So I kind of get that complaint.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. Because, I mean, you have no idea how frustrated I would be playing Mad Monster Mansion, and I'd be at, like, 85 notes, and then I'd die. And I rage quit once during this exact playthrough, because it was like, I had 15 notes left. Now I have to go, mostly because of that fucking church. I hate that church.
The church was the easiest part for me.
The pews, those 4 notes on the pews,
okay, those are
a bitch. I can't. Those stupid ghosts.
Those are a little obnoxious, yeah.
Those were the only hard ones, too. Well, the ones at the bottom of the well were kind of a bitch, too.
Those were easy. You just gotta go in as the pumpkin.
I didn't realize that until, like, the 3rd time I went after them.
You are an idiot. I knew right away that you had to be the pumpkin. I mean, I guess if that was your first ever playthrough, you'd be like, how am I supposed to do this? Because you don't know about the pumpkin.
Well, like I said, I've beaten this game before, but I've never 100%ed. I've never 100%ed it.
Yeah.
Because when I beat it, I think I stopped the whole, I want to get, like, there's only one game, actually, that I've ever 100% completed. And that was, Donkey Kong 64. And that's it.
I've done Sonic Generations.
I have not done Sonic Generations. I can't. I'm so bad at Sonic games.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I want to do this because I'm going to put this out there right now. I think that the Banjo series might be the absolute best series on the 64.
Well, Zelda is on the 64. And it does have, like, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Let me put it this way. I think that Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie might be some of the best 3D platformers of the entire generation. Let's put it that way.
Try ever.
Maybe ever, honestly. Yeah. I'd have to.
I mean, it kind of helps in their favor that 3D platforming
it was a new thing.
It's also kind of an aborted genre. Like, it's dead now, and it never really had a chance to be born in the first place.
Honestly, yeah, you're not going to find anything other than, like, I think Mario is basically the only 3D platform you're going to find these days.
Yeah, like, there's the odd one now and then, like Jet Rocket or whatever. But 3D platforming, that just not now or ever before was it really that represented. Like the 5th generation, which was 64, PS1, and Dreamcast. No, actually, Dreamcast was 6.
Yeah, Dreamcast was with the GameCube and the.
That is so weird,
isn't it?
But I guess 64, PS1, and Saturn.
I think
that's weird. That's so weird. But I don't know. I kind of want to count the Saturn and the Dreamcast in the same generation, but by definition, I guess you can't do that.
Yeah, kind of now.
But like the 5th generation was like this explosion of 3D platformers, and then never again. Like they had that one big chance.
Well, yeah, because like that was the creation of 3D. Like we didn't really have. Well, I mean, we kind of had 3D games before then, but they weren't.
Guess who just died?
But they weren't very good. But like after Super Mario 64, just the game was changed. Like that was a game changing, a game changer. It was a game that changed the game. And so Rareware basically, Rareware made the 3 best 3D platformers on the 64.
Yep, they made Banjo, they made Conker, and they made Donkey Kong.
Yep. And that was basically like though I've been told a lot of people. I've been told a lot of people when they replay Conker, which I've never played Conker actually. I haven't
either.
I really want.
I want to get the Xbox version.
But I've been told that a lot of people say that, when I played Conker as a kid, it's not good. They're like, it's not. It was good when I was a kid, but it's not good anymore.
It was good because of the shock factor of it being a mature game.
Yeah, it was one of the I think it might have been one of the few mature games, like one of the few good mature games that came out on the 64, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah. It was one of the only mature games, really. There weren't a lot.
Yeah, like it wasn't until I think last console generation when M games really became a big thing with first person the explosion of first person shooters and all that.
Yeah, well, our generation was really the first big one to start playing video games. So
we're the first generation to grow up in a world.
Yeah.
We never grew up in a world where there were no video games. Like video games were invented during the last generation, and so when we were born, they were already a thing.
Yeah, like the 64 came out when we were like 3.
Yeah, it was the first console I ever owned. Was it when we were 3? Because I remember playing the Super Nintendo before that, because
it came out in 95.
Really?
We weren't even 3 then.
Damn. Because I remember, because my first games I ever played were, like, again, Rareware games. Fuck, Rareware fucking raised me. Shit.
Hold on. Did it come out in... Let me look this up.
I feel like it was later than 95. But I don't quote me on
that. Oh, yeah, it was 96.
96. So we were...
Yeah, so we were 3.
But I remember, because, like, the first games I ever saw played were the Donkey Kong Country games. Because I would go, when I stayed over at my grandparents' house, my uncle was still in high school when I was that age. And he had a Super Nintendo, and he had the Donkey Kong Countries, and he was ridiculously good at all 3 of them. And I just watch him speed run these games. And so my father, I think my dad realized that I really liked this, and so he went out and actually bought me a 64. That was my Christmas present one year.
Oh, that was nice.
It was like the best Christmas present ever, and that's basically what started everything.
Yeah, I got we had an NES in my house first, and I think that was the only video games I had until I finished preschool. And, like, I would play Mario on the NES for, like, years until I finished preschool. Like, that was my game. That was just what I did. And we had Zelda 2, but I was, like, 3 years old, so I wasn't gonna fucking play Zelda 2.
Bill, are you gonna play fucking Zelda 2 now?
Oh, maybe.
Only masochists play that game, from what I've heard.
I might. But, yeah, it's like the thing of, we had Mario, we had Duck Hunt, we had Zelda, and we had some stupid baseball game. And that was my entire life until the 64 came out. And I got the 64 when I finished preschool. And that just started it all. And, Rare didn't raise me like they raised you. But Banjo-Kazooie was obviously a very special game to me, because what happened was I learned this when I went back to play it 2 years ago, I think it was. I went and looked at my old save file. I had 200 hours in the game, and I looked, and I never made it past Treasure Trove Cove.
Damn.
I had never seen Clanker's Cavern.
What were you doing in Mumbo's Mountain and Treasure Trove Cove that you logged that many hours in the game?
I don't know.
Jeez.
I really don't know.
There are literally not enough G's and notes.
Actually, it wasn't 200 hours. I'm thinking of Sonic, because Sonic Adventure 2 I actually have 200 hours in. But, I think it was like 40 hours in Banjo, and I never made it past the second level.
Man,
and Banjo-Tooie, I actually did. Like, I finished that game. I didn't anything.
Well, that game, while it is like more open world, and honestly, I think it's better. It's also a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, it's
kind of like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. The first Kingdom Hearts, I don't like it because I personally think it's a bad game. It's badly controlled, and I really don't like it. But I also can admit a lot of people's problems with Kingdom Hearts 2, even though it is the better game. It's better controlled. It's got a better story. It's got better voice acting. It's a lot. 1 is a lot harder than 2, and I think a lot of sequels do that because usually, like for Banjo, especially in the case of Banjo, this wasn't really a concept that had been done before, and like this was probably this team's first game like this, and so they didn't really have anything to base on when they were thinking, all right, how difficult do we make this? Like, there was no example for them to follow, so they had to be the example. And when they realized, all right, this was pretty good, but some of it was a little too hard, then, because this is a pretty challenging game, Banjo-Kazooie. Rusty Bucket Bay is direct proof that Satan himself was a designer at Rareware in 1998. But
I love Rusty Bucket Bay.
I do too. It's a great level. It's hard, but it's like Super Meat Boy hard, where you love it, but god damn it, you hate it. And that's great. When you can get that down, that's fucking fantastic. But Rusty Bucket Bay was designed by Satan.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of like reading a walkthrough here because like Click Clock Wood is unreasonably difficult. Like, it's not difficult in the sense of, like, you die a lot.
Yeah, Rusty Bucket Bay is hard because everything in its mother wants you dead. Everything wants you dead.
Whereas Click Clock Wood is just huge, and there's so much that's so easy to miss.
Like, one of my favorite jokes I ever make about Rusty Bucket Bay, and I make it every time I play, is one of the enemies is actually the life preserver. Like, the ship's life preservers will come to life and try to kill you, and I don't know why, I find that so much funnier than it probably is.
The exhaust pipes try to kill you.
Yeah, it's just everything.
The fucking water tries to kill you.
Yeah, the water, even if you're above water, you can still drown. Like, because your air goes down. And if you're underwater, your air goes down twice as fast as it usually would.
It's unbelievably difficult. And I don't think that's that bad.
Oh, it's not bad. It was made to be unreasonably difficult, and they pulled it off very well. They pulled it off. Yeah. They pulled it off without making it like some games you find really bad because they're just overly hard in an unfair way. But I never felt like Rusty Bucket Bay is unfair, so to say.
Yeah, like. The engine room, maybe it's a little unfair.
The engine room, I think, was designed to be unfair.
Yeah, like with the engine room, you have like the very ground you stand on is spinning
at all times. At all times,
and you need to find a switch to slow it down.
And it is actually widely considered the absolute hardest Jiggy to get in the game. In the entire game. And
Not to mention the notes.
A lot of people...
The notes, because if you die, you lose the notes.
Like, in the 64 version, that's just cruel. And a lot of people say... a lot of walkthroughs I've ever read, because sometimes I'll just like for my Mad Monster Mansion, I eventually just broke down and was like, alright, where is this last Jinjo? Because I couldn't find it. I could not find it for the life of me. I had 4 Jinjos and 9 Jiggies, and I could not find it. And, so, a lot of walkthroughs will basically tell you, yeah, the engine room Jiggy in Rusty Bucket Bay, that's basically the last Jiggy you want to get for the whole game. Or those are the last notes you want to get.
The Jiggy isn't the hard part, though. It's the fucking notes.
Yeah, because if you die, you lose.
The Jiggy you get... Because if you go there first, getting the Jiggy is really not that big a problem. It's the notes that are the problem. Because you lose them all if you die.
Yeah.
Like, the Jiggy, yeah, it's annoying to die.
But if you get the Jiggy, bam, you're done. The Jiggies, once you collect them, they're collected. You're done.
Yeah, I died 3 times in the Xbox version here. Just thank God I didn't have to get all those notes again.
You consider yourself lucky, because it is the most frustrating thing about this game. But...
yeah. I actually got the Jiggy on my first go. But then it was the 2 switches to get that other Jiggy.
The one in the fan blades in the back of the ship?
Yes,
to this day I've never gotten that Jiggy. To this day I have never once
it's not that hard.
I can't. I just can't.
No, because, for those who don't know, there are 2 switches in the engine room, and they're on opposite sides of the engine room. And then there's a timer.
Yeah, it only stays, it stops the little propellers in the back of the ship. And there's a Jiggy behind one of these propellers.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant the propellers in the engine room.
Yeah, no, not in the engine room.
Those don't stop.
Those never stop. Unfortunately, as much as we wish. Well, there's another switch to stop them, but it's somewhere else. And it's like...
No, it slows them down.
Oh, fuck.
They never actually... Wait, whoa, hold up. You've never found that switch?
Oh no, I've found it. I
haven't
gotten that Jiggy in this playthrough yet.
Hold on, you're trying to get that Jiggy without hitting that switch?
No.
It's literally impossible.
No. I haven't even attempted it yet. I just haven't.
Oops, I just died.
Nice.
No, I didn't die, actually. I fell off a click-clock wood.
Oh, I've done that so many times. Oh, God.
But, it's summer, so there's no water.
Oh, Jesus. But, fuck, I have been walking around Treasure Trove Cove for 30 minutes trying to find one honeycomb piece. Time for a walkthrough. But, these switches, they stop these propellers in the back of the ship, and there's a Jiggy behind these propellers. And you have 50 seconds to get out of the engine room, which is, again, as we say, the hardest room basically in the game. The most unfair room in the game, and it was designed that way.
Fun fact. I disagree.
Really?
You want to know what the hardest room in the game is?
Which one?
It's in Gruntilda's lair. It's that room with the really narrow, curved walkway.
Oh,
I died
God.
4 times there.
Oh, God, that one. The one that leads to Mad Monster Mansion?
Yeah, and then you have to go across the twisty part to get... What was it even? Just a honeycomb piece?
No, it was a passage to the cheat code book.
Oh yeah, that's all. I never even used the cheat codes.
And me neither. And I'm just like, wow, that was worth it. And then I died trying to get back across.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I died. I died getting there, and I died getting back across. And just thank God it puts you on the original side if you die getting your way back across.
Oh yeah, because that would just be fucking awful. I can't.
I would be so done.
But you gotta get out of... You have 50 seconds to get out of this engine room, swim...
back in the engine room.
Swim...
No, you fucking bird! Oh my God, I'm playing Click Clock Wood right now, of course. And there are fucking birds in these holes all across the level. And fun fact, if they hit you, you fucking fall off the tree. Ugh. Click Clock Wood is a giant tree level, for those unaware.
Yes, it's a circular level with a giant ash tree in the middle, and it's I don't even know.
It's so... Oh, I've died 4 times just from falling off the tree. But yeah, you have 50 seconds to get from the switches to
the propellers out of the engine room and then to
That's
the back,
what they are,
to the
yes.
back of the ship. And this is made doubly hard by the fact that when you're underwater in Rusty Bucket Bay, the water, like we said, is toxic. It's polluted, and you lose air twice as fast as usual.
You're not underwater that long, though.
And you are if the swimming controls screw you over, which they do to me a lot.
I think they might have tightened them up for the Xbox, because I haven't had that much trouble with them.
Maybe, because I have trouble with... They are my least favorite part of this game. By far. The swimming control. That's why I really don't like Clanker's Cavern as much as I would if the swimming controls were actually, well done.
Mm-hmm.
But, I like Clanker's Cavern. I really do, but it's
Fun fact.
It's a mostly underwater level, and I hate that.
Fun fact, first time I ever played Rusty Bucket Bay, I got every single jiggy and every single note in one life. Very first time I ever played it.
How on earth? You're a demon. You are a
Yep.
demon. You are a demon in human form with a controller in your hand.
Because I was in my junior year of high school, and I wanted to kill stuff. Was that the beginning of junior year, or was that the beginning of senior year? No, that was the beginning of senior year, wasn't it?
All right, let's get in some of the meat and the bones. We've talked a little bit. Oh, please tell me this fucking honeycomb piece is not on Shark Bait Island. Oh, it better not be. Oh God,
I don't think it is.
I can see the game doing that though. I can't.
No, it's not. It's not.
Is there anything on Shark Bait Island? I always.
That's the stop and swap location. That's a stop and swap thing. Well, which we should talk a bit about stop and swap.
That was originally, it was something that was supposed to, I still don't fully remember what it was, because it was...
I understand exactly how it worked, but I don't actually know what it
I
did.
don't think anybody knows actually what it did. Oh, you can't actually get to Sharkbait Island. It's called Sharkbait Island because you're going to try to get there and Snacker's going to eat the shit out of you. Alright.
There's a 1-up at Sharkbait Island. Yeah, you can get to Sharkbait Island.
There's a box next to Sharkbait Island, and there's a 1-up on the box, but you can't actually get to the little crag of rock with the sign that says Sharkbait Island. There's an invisible wall in front of it. I just tried. That's cruel as hell, Rareware from 1998. Fix your game that you made almost over 10 years ago.
So what Stop and Swap is that they made several areas in the game that have things hidden in them. And when you 100% the game, they give you... Oh, there is an actual rating for 100% then. Oh, now I get it. Okay, but when you 100% the game, Mumbo tells you about these secrets, but you can't actually get them.
Because they were meant for Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah, what would happen was you would unlock them in Tooie and then actually transfer that data back over to the original Banjo-Kazooie. And the way that this was going to work was when they made Banjo-Kazooie, when you took the cartridge out of the Nintendo 64, it would actually keep the data in the 64's RAM for about 40 seconds. So that was enough time to, to put Tooie in, load it up, or put the original, put one game in, load it up, and have all your data still there. But while Tooie was in development, Nintendo revised the Nintendo 64 internal hardware, and what ended up being was that 40 seconds was changed to about 5 seconds. So
that was
Stop
impossible
and Swap,
unless you were inhumanly fast.
Yeah, well, it was completely possible, but it didn't leave a very big room for error. So if you did it wrong, then that could really fuck up your stuff.
Yeah.
So they decided in the end that Stop and Swap, it was a really cool idea, but it was ahead of its time.
Yeah. And I mean, you see games do that nowadays with
But you see it in you very rarely see it, planned out in such a way.
Yeah.
You'll very often see a game have data that you take into its sequel, but you rarely see a sequel that has data that you take into the original. And that would have been so cool.
But can you even think of a game that does that nowadays?
No, I can't.
Me neither. Huh.
And it's very unfortunate that it never panned out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it never actually became a thing.
Well, actually, the Xbox version, since it's all on the Xbox internal memory, you stop and swap is actually a thing. But God damn it! I fell off the tree again. But unfortunately, what it ended up doing was unlocking things in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
That's unfortunate because I've never played that game, but from what I have been told, if you have not yet, and I know you won't, you're not a fan of him, but honestly, I think JonTron does kind of put why Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are great games, and he does a review of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which he says is basically one of the first games he ever wanted to do a review for, but he said that the moment had to be perfect. So I guess it was like his 500K subscribers special.
Wasn't it his first anniversary?
No, his first anniversary was Star Fox Adventures.
Oh,
but
right.
But it was the end of the Star Fox Adventures review actually hints at the fact that he was going to do a Nuts and Bolts review.
Yeah, because it shows Nuts and Bolts.
But it took a long time for that to actually happen. And honestly, I like the video because I've never played Nuts and Bolts, so I don't know exactly how accurate it is. I don't have a 360, and I don't really plan on playing Nuts and Bolts, even if I ever did get a 360.
I've played the demo, and it doesn't feel right. Like, even keeping in mind the fact that this was supposed to be, that it shouldn't be this series, it should be something else. It just doesn't feel right to begin with.
Yeah, one of his points that he brings up is this should have been called like Tip Top Nuts and Bolts, not Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. They should have picked like one of their other characters. Like,
yeah.
Tip Top would have been perfect because he was a character. He was in Banjo-Kazooie, and he was introduced in he was also introduced in Diddy Kong Racing. So he would have been absolutely perfect.
Yeah, but it could have also been Miles Tails per hour Nuts and Bolts.
I don't think that would have worked.
It would have worked.
That would have. Just trust me. Just trust me on this. It just would have worked. It could have been Sonic R2.
There's a quick update from my side of things. I forgot there's supposed to be like some garden in Click Clock Wood, right?
I think so, like a big flower grows.
Yeah.
And then
I never started that in spring.
You ruin Gobi's life again.
Poor Gobi.
Poor Gobi. He gets the shit kicked out of him in this game.
Gobi, please.
For those who don't know, Gobi is this... I can ground pound Clanker's eyes. Gobi is a camel that you meet in the level called Gobi's Valley.
Why did you ground pound Clanker's eyes?
I don't know, but I just realized you can. It doesn't do anything, but you can do it.
You're a dick.
Clanker's a cool guy. I like him.
You're a dick.
But you meet him in the level called Gobi's Valley, which I still don't know why it's called Gobi's Valley, because it obviously doesn't belong to him. He leaves.
Because you just give him shit the entire time. That's why.
Well, I mean, the first time you see him, he's chained to a rock, and he's like, I don't want to be here anymore. This sucks. And so you break the rock and set him free, and he's like, thank you. Here, have a Jiggy. And he gives you a Jiggy, and then you find him next to this tree that was one of the first things you saw when you walked into the level.
Yep.
And that
tree's thirsty.
This tree, I don't remember what it was called.
It was a tree, and it was thirsty. What more do you need to know?
True. It was a very thirsty tree. He didn't have any water, and he just wanted some water. And Gobi's sitting next to him, and he's like, this tree looks... Because Gobi's kind of a dick, I guess. He's like, this tree looks really thirsty, but I need all my water for myself. So...
Well, they live in a desert.
It's a camel.
That's the point.
And he could obviously leave easily.
It's his home. It's named after him. It was in his family for generations.
But
That's not canon, by the way.
You have the ability. What you are supposed to do is ground pound on Gobi's back, which will lead to him regurgitating every ounce of water, which is not actually how camel humps work, but okay.
Just real quick note, I'm in Click Clock Wood right now. I'm in the spring version. Is this when I plant the flower?
I do not actually know. I don't remember, actually.
Okay, I'll keep going.
I'm in Clanker's Cavern looking for the one honeycomb piece that I missed. It's going well. You ground pound on his back. And he spits out all this water, and he feeds. He gives this tree some water, and the tree gives you a Jiggy, and he goes, "Fuck this, you're a dick," and he leaves. He just completely leaves, and he leaves this world, and you find him again in the very last world of the game, being Click Clock Wood. You find him again, and he's standing next to a tree plant, and he's like, "No, get away from me." If I remember correctly, I haven't actually seen it in this playthrough again. But he yells at you, he's like, "No, get away from me, I remember what you did to me last time." And you do it again. You ground pound on his back again, and he regurgitates all this water onto this plant and makes it grow. And you'll never see him again. I think you might see him again in Tooie, but
you see him again in Tooie, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Basically, the point of Gobi is to be a bitch for the whole game. And he doesn't deserve it. He's a nice guy. He was chained to a rock. Well, no, he's not a nice guy. He wouldn't feed a tree. But he's an okay guy, and he doesn't deserve to get the shit kicked out of him. What do you care? You're a bear.
So something I don't think we've ever really acknowledged about Click Clock Wood is that it's a time travel level.
It is. And that's what I mentioned that earlier to you. I was like, have you ever thought that maybe Click Clock Wood takes place?
No, you didn't.
I said this to you. I said, have you ever thought that maybe Click Clock Wood takes place in a TARDIS?
Oh yeah, I didn't really understand what you meant by that because I didn't really think about it that way.
Because it's a time traveling level. Click Clock Wood.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, are you high?
Click Clock Wood is this world that when you enter it, you enter it from the hub, but you don't enter the world itself. You enter another hub. When there's 4 doors, and basically these 4 doors all lead to the same level, but during different seasons.
Yeah, one does not simply walk through 4 doors.
So you've got one that is.
Really, you're not going to get mad at me for making that?
No, and I will. I'm ignoring that you made that joke, and that's how this is going to go. You're not going to talk for about an hour, and that's how this is going to happen. But basically. It just, you have a door for spring, you have a door for summer, a door for fall, and a door for winter. And the stage is drastically different. Like, not in layout, but in what you can do. Like, in summer, you mentioned there's no water in the thing. In winter, everything's snowy and frozen. In spring, it's all rainy. And my favorite Jiggy in the entire game, actually, is Eri the eagle.
Oh, right. I'm doing that one right now.
Because that is the only, as far as I know, that and the flower are the only 2 Jiggies that actually span across all 4 seasons. And Eri especially, because you're time traveling and Eri is growing up. As you hatch him in spring, and when you get to the last level, which I believe is winter, he leaves the nest. He flies away. He's grown up. And that's honestly one of the most heartwarming Jiggies in the entire game. In my opinion.
Yeah, like you start out hatching him from his egg.
Yeah, you ground pound his egg, which, sorry game, eggs don't work like that, but, you know.
Hey, the Chow Garden has taught me that they do. So I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing here. Whatever. Erie's hungry, I gotta feed him.
Yeah. Is it Erie or Eri? I don't actually know.
Who knows? I thought Erie was a girl for a while.
But that's honestly one of my favorite Jiggies in the entire game. But, like... Alright, favorite level, go.
I don't know.
Way to go. Way to go. I tried to put you on... Well, I put you on the spot, and you just blew me off.
Yep.
You're a dick. And, my favorite level, actually, is probably... Click Clock Wood, honestly. Click Clock Wood or Treasure Trove... No, not Treasure Trove Cove. It's good, but it's not that good.
I really, really like Rusty Bucket Bay, actually.
Rusty Bucket Bay, I think, is really well designed, but it is not my favorite.
Oh, no, hold on. Everyone go home. Freeze Easy Peak.
Freeze Easy Peak is... Yeah, I can see that. Freeze Easy Peak's a really, really nice level. I love it. It's also one of the very few Christmas-themed levels you will ever find in any game ever. Because it is blatantly Christmas-themed.
Kobe, I see him.
He's here.
I'm after him now. I've got my sights on him.
He's screwed. But Quick Hulk Wood is just fantastic simply because it's well designed, it's long. Rusty Bucket Bay, yeah, I will agree, is one of the nicer levels simply because it is designed unbelievably well.
And it has such a good soundtrack.
Oh, it has great music. A lot of people think it's the best music. I disagree. I like either Quick Hulk Wood or Mad Monster Mansion better. But it's definitely... Oh, God, it's fantastic.
It's really difficult for me to choose a favorite song because they're all so good.
Oh, yeah, like this... We've already said this, like, this game has a fucking amazing soundtrack. Like, oh...
Absolutely. Just... why did Rare have to, just become such a shitty company lately?
Have you heard that Nintendo is actually considering trying to buy them back since Microsoft is basically doing nothing with them?
God, that's... I don't really care for rumors like that until they actually happen.
I would like to actually... Because there's also the rumor that they're thinking of buying Sega, which I'll believe that when it happens.
I haven't heard that one. That's totally false. I hope it happens.
I hope it happens too, but that is a rumor that is currently circulating around that they're thinking of buying back Rareware and that they are thinking of just completely buying Sega. Which, I mean, I just want them to buy Sega so I can see a good Sonic game. Because Nintendo probably wouldn't... If they gave it to Nintendo...
Okay, yo, you got a 24-hour Sonic cast coming up in a couple weeks.
True.
Let's save it for that.
Yeah. But
as far as Rareware goes, God damn it, I died again! But the thing about Rareware is that, a good number of the developers have since left the company.
Oh yeah,
but enough of them haven't. And just to realize that the same people who made a game as amazing as Banjo-Kazooie are making Kinect Sports.
And avatars. And that's all they're doing. That's all that Microsoft is letting them do. And I'm assuming it's probably because Banjo Nuts and Bolts didn't do very well. Because that was kind of the last game the last actual game they made.
Mm-hmm. Well, I read this about whether EA is going to put out the Mass Effect trilogy on Wii U, and the argument, I think, holds true to Microsoft's relationship with Rare. And what it was that, people were saying, based on the sales of Mass Effect 3 on Wii U, do you think we'll see the trilogy? And the answer to that is that EA is going to interpret the sales whichever way they want. If it sells like crap, they can either say, well, I guess there's no interest for Mass Effect on the Wii U, or they can say, maybe we should actually put out the trilogy because that's what people want. If it sells well, they could either believe, well, people like it, let's put out the trilogy, or they could say, haha, we can get away with selling them whatever we want.
Honestly,
and I think that's...
Yeah.
That's what I see when I think of Microsoft and Rare. They can think... They're going to think whatever they want about Rare after Nuts and Bolts, after Kinect Sports, after all of that.
I mean, you look at Rareware's track record, and they used to be the kings. They used to be basically the best game developer of their time.
Yeah. I know you're just quoting JonTron now, but...
Well, I'm kind of quoting JonTron, and kind of you
do actually believe that.
Look at the evidence. I mean, back then they may name, other than Perfect Dark, which is the only Rareware game from this time period that I've ever played that I did not like.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird, because Perfect Dark is supposed to be GoldenEye, but
I think it's more so that Perfect Dark did not age. It's the same thing with GoldenEye, the 64 GoldenEye. That game did not age well. And neither did Perfect Dark, I don't think. Because nowadays, 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie, they have leeway because, we've already covered, there aren't actually very many of them in existence. But, first-person shooters have exploded, and now that we have first-person shooters that actually work well in our time, first-person shooters, we're no longer, content with first-person shooters like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark that kind of worked, but only worked just enough so that they weren't horrible games for their time.
Well, the thing about GoldenEye is that it did some revolutionary things. Like, it did split screen.
Yeah.
I think GoldenEye was the first game to do split screen. Period. Like, that is not just huge for first-person shooters, but just games in general.
That actually...
Like, just... Huh. I'm not sure if it was GoldenEye that did it first, or Mario Kart 64. But I cannot think of an earlier game that does split screen. And that is just so revolutionary.
Did GoldenEye or Banjo come out first?
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye. All right, good. I was about to say, because like Diddy Kong Racing is split screen, but that might be just coming off of GoldenEye's technology then.
Yeah. I know that GoldenEye came out first, because it was supposed to be a Super Nintendo game. And Nintendo actually pulled the plug on GoldenEye, fun fact. They gave the order to Rare to cancel that game, and Rare ignored it.
Nice. Well, like,
because God damn it, I fell off the tree again.
We're going to hear a lot of that. That happens a lot in Quick Lockwood.
But, GoldenEye was going through a terrible development, and they almost didn't have the multiplayer at all. Like, multiplayer was a very, very last-minute addition.
Because back then, like, you didn't need a game to have multiplayer. Like, nowadays, it is... For games like that, literally publishers will not publish it if you do not put in, like we've seen that time and time again. Like so many games are just like, oh, we had to tack on this half-assed multiplayer mode because nobody would publish our game if we didn't.
Yeah, like Spec Ops: The Line, I know. They were forced to add multiplayer after that game came out.
Yeah, that was the example, because I know you brought that out earlier, because like nobody would have published that game without, which is sad because...
Well, they did publish it without multiplayer, and then they were like, okay, seriously, put in some multiplayer now, because we're not selling this game.
Yeah, but, like, back then you didn't really have people... Back then the big focus was on 3D, not multiplayer.
Yeah, well, also, the thing was that, we're getting a little off topic, so I don't want to go too in-depth, but the thing about shooters back then was multiplayer was hardly a thing, especially on consoles. Console shooters multiplayer was just unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Like shooter multiplayer was more or less unheard of because that was very, very difficult.
That was like, well, I mean, back then. Wait, was this? I wonder if this was before or after the Quake era started. I mean, but like.
I really don't know. I know almost nothing about Quake.
How do I? I do know that was like one of the first big multiplayer FPSs to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, but we are getting off topic.
Way off topic.
So, yeah.
But I think, like, I mean, technically, because, like, Rareware had a lot of freedom with their stuff. And you can basically, back then, and you can basically tell, that they had pretty much all the freedom in the world, because, I mean...
Yeah. Like Banjo-Kazooie is such an art game.
It's an art game, but it doesn't feel like an art game. Not today, at least.
Like, this... Motherfucker!
Like, by today's standards of an art game, this is not an art game.
No.
But
this game is a game where I feel that everything that is in this game is how the developers wanted it. Like, some things worked better than others, but none of it was because of some publisher, someone that said, this will sell this much, so we should do it like this. No. It was all what the developers believed would make a better game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure any Rare employee from back in those days will probably tell you that Nintendo had little to no input on, like, the actual development of most of their games. Maybe for Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong was an actual Nintendo property. But...
Yeah. Oh my god, I find it very hard to believe that they didn't have a lot to do with that, because they're very protective of their intellectual property.
Think of it this way though, because you've heard this said, like, you can tell how much freedom Nintendo gave them, because Miyamoto hates the Donkey Kong Country games.
Yeah,
he does not like them, but they were still made the way, and like, you could tell if Nintendo was tampering with those games, because they'd be a lot different in that case.
Absolutely. Like, and I do have to respect Nintendo on that hand, because they looked at that and they didn't think it was very good, but it was very, very popular here.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't think really Nintendo, I don't think the higher ups in Nintendo really like Metroid Prime either, and that's just another thing.
No, well, that's because in the market that they're familiar with, which is Japan, they don't sell well there, but they do in the West because there is a cultural difference there.
Yeah,
there's a big cultural difference, and I really have to give Nintendo a lot of credit for being one of the few companies that really understands the differences between their two markets, and they really do a good job of catering to two different cultures.
And I mean, they also like. If you look at all that, you gotta realize Nintendo really has down how to treat their second party developers.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of big publishers and like big companies like that, they really don't understand how to treat their second parties. But Nintendo Nintendo has it nailed down.
Except Game Freak.
Except for Game Freak.
I mean...
But that's because Game Freak basically... I'm pretty sure that's probably, though, like, I don't know why they treat Game Freak so differently than the rest of their second parties. Maybe it's because
Because it's Pokemon.
It is Pokemon. Like, the other second party developers they have, they don't mess with properties that are technically owned by Nintendo unless Nintendo gives it to them. But Game Freak made Pokemon. They're the only ones that are allowed to ever make Pokemon.
Yeah, But, because Nintendo, as the publisher, has a publisher's stake in that game. So they can say, this needs to happen or we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And Game Freak really has no choice in a lot of those areas. And Pokemon is such an important franchise to the Nintendo name.
Because it's one of their... It is their biggest...
It is their biggest...
Their biggest handheld franchise. There is not one bigger.
Yeah. So they need that to be a crazy, crazy popular game.
But we're getting off topic again. The point that we're trying to make here is that Rare was treated very well, and it reflects a lot in their games.
Absolutely.
So right now, basically, we are both around the same spot in the game.
Yeah, I'm in Click Clockwood right now. I'm in Summer.
And I am in Click Clockwood as well. Right now, well, I'm not in Click Clockwood as we speak. Right now, I'm in Clicker's Cavern, still looking for a honeycomb piece. But, because I need one more for one more honeycomb. I need one more, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think partly because it's 3:30 a.m. right now, we could wrap up this week and finish off next week with a wrap up episode. It'll probably be a shorter one.
It'll probably be shorter because we'll have less to talk about. It'll basically, I can pretty much see like final thoughts on Click Clockwood, probably Grunty's Furnace Fun, which oh man, am I gonna have a blast with that one. And probably the final boss. And then an overall thoughts on the game.
So, thanks for listening, guys. We're still trying to figure out everything together. We don't even have a logo together.
At this point. At time of release, we might.
Hopefully. At the time of recording, we don't even know how our intro and outro is going to work.
At time of release, guys, we probably have an intro by now. It's a beautiful intro. It's nice. Look at it. Man, look at that intro.
It was composed by Grant Kirkhope.
Yeah.
Specifically for us.
The intro, just like, we called Grant Kirkhope and we were like, man, we're big fans. Could you write our intro? And he's like, man, I'm a big fan of Read the Manual and Dark Rise Happy Let's Play Fun Time. I will totally write an intro for you guys. And Grant Kirkhope wrote an intro for us. God, can you imagine?
Fucking birds.
And on that note... That's the perfect note to end on, actually. Just fucking birds. I'm Litterbaga.
I'm Tip Top.
And, you're really gonna steal Ben's shtick, huh? Okay.
Dude, I've done that on every podcast I've ever been on. I'm not gonna stop now.
Yeah, join us next week for the summing up of Banjo-Kazooie and the announcement of our next game.
Hopefully, maybe by some freak accident, we won't be done with Banjo-Kazooie yet.
Oh god, it took us a week for Click Clockwood alone.
Alright, we'll see you next week, guys.
See you later.